We have made it to the start of April here in year number 3 of the Chicago White Sox series here on MLB The Show 25. In the last episode, we went through spring training. We finally took our first look at the international free agents, and we got through the month of March. The team's been pretty solid so far. We're 3-3. We took 1 in Arizona and then 2 in Anaheim against the Angels. The big story is the offense so far. We have really been hitting the ball well. We're second in runs, and we're first in runs per game. We are currently third in batting average, but we're hitting for power as well. Tied for 9th in terms of home runs. We are second in walks, but we're also 9th in terms of the least amount of strikeouts. So we're really working counts well at the plate, avoiding strikeouts, drawing walks, hitting for power, hitting for contact, and believe it or not, hitting clutch with runners on base. I never thought I would see the day. We got some contracts hammered out in the last episode now that we have an ownership group that's going to be willing to spend money. 6 years, $60 million for Teel. I really feel like he's on the verge of becoming one of the best catchers in the game, and I figured if we didn't pay him now, he's going to cost a lot of money really soon. He was 11th in catching WAR last year, and that was being a pretty average offensive player. And if the first 6 games are any sign, I think he's going to hit the ball well this year. We also re-signed Luis Robert, but not necessarily how one would expect. Instead of a long-term deal, we only signed him for 2 years, giving him $75 million total. And the thought process is that Luis Robert wants to be here, but he also wants to win. And while things seem to be on the rise here in Chicago, it hasn't yet translated to the win column. We only won 63 games last year. This way, there's pressure on the team to continue to try to build a winning ball club. It gets him a higher AAV for the next 2 years. He's making more money than he would if he signed a 7 or 8 year contract. And he can cash out again after season 5, whether that's with us or with someone else. So far, Luis Robert has been really good. .7 WAR. The highest in baseball is .8 for reference. Granted, it's only 6 games, but it's not a surprise to see him hitting the ball well. He's third in the MVP race, hitting above 400 with 3 home runs up to this point, only trailing Christian Moore, who was second in the Rookie of the Year race last year, and Willie Castro, who was the best player in baseball a year ago in April, and then he was basically replacement level the rest of the way. Lou Bob is not the only guy hitting the ball well, though. The offense as a whole has been quite good. Brian Ramos has been impressive. Teel has been good. Akil Baddoo is playing well. Colson Montgomery has been the biggest story, in my opinion, for us. He's hitting 500 so far. Now, again, it's not much of a sample size. It's 16 at-bats, but for a guy who's really struggled so far in his big league career, especially in terms of contact, seeing him hit the ball well early in the year is very encouraging. The pitching's been a little bit shaky, though, at times. Drew Thorpe is coming off a really good start in our previous game against the Angels. Armand Marquez's White Sox debut was not so good, and we're hoping he pitches a little bit better in our home opener against the Royals. I'm excited to see these young guys continue to go. Hagen Smith and Noah Schultz, both of whom were fine in their opening games, and then the new look bullpen as well. Cianel Perez, the closer, has struggled, but he's only pitched in a couple games so far, so I don't really want to worry about it quite yet. Of course, in the last episode, we already did our 2 wheel spins for March and April, ultimately choosing Douglas Cato and Owen White. The Douglas Cato experience has been kind of as expected so far. We got to boost his potential up by 5. In the opening game, he homered and drove in 3. In the second game, he got hurt. That's Douglas Cato in a nutshell. As for Owen White, his hits per 9 and walks per 9 go down. His Ks per 9 and home runs per 9 go up. Overall, I don't really think this will help him out a whole lot, and he wasn't very good in his first start. I wanted to figure out what I could do across the league, though, because, as I said, I feel like the 2 wheel spins for each team at the beginning of the year is a little bit too much. And there was a comment that suggested we do maybe 5 teams per month, basically a division. And I think that's a good idea. 1 player per each team in a division for 1 month out of the year. So today we're going to pick the AL East. This has been a really interesting division. You've got the Rays, who are 7-0, outscoring their opponents 31-6. Baltimore and Boston have been pitching really well, but then you had the Yankees at 1-6. So for the Orioles, I picked Mike Trout, and he landed on Mr. Versatile, which means he gets to add a secondary position. At 35 years old, it's not a bad idea to maybe have him play first base every once in a while. If you guys would rather me do live spins than show the results, I can do that as well. Say Don Rafael, I got a really interesting one. Suspicious surprise. All of his ratings are going to go up by 7. But he's going to have to spin the suspensions wheel every month for the rest of the year. There's a chance he gets suspended, but if he never does, he'll get to keep all of these ratings moving forward, which would be a big boost for his career. So it could be a big positive, but it could also be a big negative. For the Yankees, I picked Jason Dominguez, and he also landed on Mr. Versatile. I didn't know whatever position to give him, so I figured I'll tack on first base as well. It doesn't really fit his skill set, but I didn't know where else to put him. For Junior Caminero, he landed on boosted. We spun the wheel for Caminero last year. I didn't really want to do him again, but I felt like he really needed it after a disappointing 2026, so all of his hitting ratings are going to go up by 15. For the Blue Jays, I picked Chase Petty, who landed on the pitching version of boosted. Chase Petty pitched the second half of the year for Toronto last year, and he was really impressive. So I think giving him this boost will certainly continue the positive momentum that he has seen through his career so far. He's looking to be a big hit from the Vladimir Guerrero Jr. trade with the Reds back in year 1. So now we're ready to rock and roll here in April with the home opener against the Royals. We've got a tough schedule here in April. We play Kansas City, we play Cleveland, we play Detroit. We've got the Orioles coming up next, the undefeated Rays at the end of the month. I'm curious to see how they look. But we start here with the first game in the South Side in season number 3. There seems to be a buzz around Chicago that the White Sox maybe aren't necessarily back yet, but appear to be in a positive trajectory. Much of the young talent on this team has gotten better and better over the last couple of years. And I think Luis Robert re-signing and the change in ownership really signals that good times are ahead for this squad. We're projected to win 70 games, so that would be certainly a noticeable improvement. What's funny about our projections is that they have Oswaldo Escobedo leading the team in OPS and RBIs. I mean, how is he going to lead in certain categories if he's not even on the final roster? If he has an 842 OPS, though, in the big leagues, I would be tickled pink. I'd be happy if that's his OPS in AAA throughout the year, let alone the majors. Herman Marquez will get the start as we take a look at both lineups 1-9. We're facing off against the lefties, so no Kyle Teel or Colson Montgomery in the starting lineup. As we take a look at Herman Marquez, who statistically is coming off 2 of the best seasons of his career with the lowly Rockies, coming off a major injury that limited him to just 5 games through 2023 and 24 combined. Nico Horner gets it started, goes down on the circle change. The Royals and Cubs essentially swapped second baseman in free agency with Horner and Jonathan India, basically for the same price, even though Jonathan India was far and away better last year. 2 gone for Bobby Witt Jr., grounds it over to first. Emmanuel Rivera makes the play. A quick 1-2-3 inning for Herman Marquez, certainly hoping for a better performance compared to him getting shelled by the Diamondbacks. As we take a look at Ranger Suarez, who was signed from the Phillies last offseason, and despite the Royals taking a big leap from year 1 to year 2, Suarez was not very good, but he's coming off a strong performance in his opening start, only allowing 1 run in 6 innings. Akil Baddoo leads it off as that one is scooped by Suarez's glove. Nice play defensively on the mound for the first out of the inning. Corey Julks now up for the White Sox, and this one is grounded over to short. What a play! Bobby Witt in time! And in time pretty comfortably, too, for the second out of the inning. That'll bring up Luis Robert, who's been excellent through the first 6 games of the year. This one is hit well over the glove of Nico Horner for a base hit into right field. And the White Sox get a runner on here with 2 away, repping the City Connect uniforms. I think the White Sox are going to wear these jerseys every Friday home game. So I'm going to try to do so here in the series as well. Brian Ramos into right. That just drops foul. That could have been an extra base hit. Probably would have scored Luis Robert, but it does not drop our way. Instead, he gets plunked. Luis Robert was trying to steal second, so he'll make it up anyway. And now there's 2 on, 2 away for Edgar Quero, who finds himself ahead 3-1, and he draws a walk. So the bases are loaded. A hit by pitch, and a walk for the White Sox. Big spot here for Nick Maton. This one is hit into the opposite field, and it is a fair ball. 1 run will score. Ramos looks to join. It is a 2-run double for Nick Maton. I don't believe it. We were successful with the bases loaded. This team has not only embraced runners aboard, but they've taken advantage through the first 6 games. Emmanuel Rivera goes down looking, but not a bad start for Chicago. Yes, we left 2 runners in scoring position, but this is still a win. 2-run double for Nick Maton has us up early, 2-0. As that sends us into the second, Ryan McMahon draws a walk. Former Rockies teammates facing off against each other. These 2 guys were on those Colorado teams for a while. McMahon acquired last year at the trade deadline from Colorado as TJ Friedel puts it on the ground. Past Rivera, Acuna deflects it. Everybody is safe. And as he was diving down, Luis Angel Acuna appeared to have hurt his knee. They're going to have to take him out of the game and could be looking at a visit to the IL. Certainly not good news. We're going to replace him with Charles LeBlanc. Definitely not how we wanted to start our home opener, with one of our key young players getting injured in the second inning. Here's John Singleton on the ground. Maton, LeBlanc over to Rivera. A 6-4-3 inning-ending double play. And the Royals will not score anybody as we move into the bottom of the second inning. We did need a casualty to get out of that inning alive, though. Andrew Monasterio leads things off. He sends this one into the gap, and this one looks like it's going to go for extra bases. It'll roll all the way to the wall in right center field, and Monasterio opens up the bottom of the second with a leadoff double. So already we start the inning with a runner in scoring position, and arguably one of, if not baseball's best offense, continues to produce. Charles LeBlanc draws a walk, and the two guys at the bottom of the order both reach base to start the frame. Full count for Akil Baddoo. He draws a walk, and the bases are loaded. Ranger Suarez is having a hard time finding the strike zone. Through 10 batters, he's walked 3 of them. He's hit another, and the bases are loaded with nobody out. Corey Julks, liner to first. It is caught by Singleton. Everybody heads back. Now one away, a huge spot here for Luis Robert. He could break this game wide open. He could also end the inning if the ball is put on the ground. There's so many outcomes here. But since we're the White Sox, you know what's going to happen here. 6-4-3, inning-ending double play. We had bases loaded and nobody out. The best case scenario to score runs. And we didn't score runs. Just because our offense has been really good does not mean we will not continue to get in our own way. Into the third now, Blake Mitchell, the young catcher, up for the Royals, as this one is going to go over the glove of Maton. Julks completely misplays it, and that's going to go for a double. Salvador Perez left in free agency, signed with the Athletics. It's officially the Blake Mitchell era behind the plate for the Royals, as he has his first double of the year. Willie Abreu, acquired at the start of last season from the Red Sox, had a great year in 2026 with the Royals. Count is even 1-1 with 2 away, and Abreu lines this one well into center, but Luis Robert is under it. He will make the play. German Marquez did not get out of the third in his first start of the year. Today he's got 3 scoreless. He's looked really solid up to this point as we move into the bottom of the third. Middle of the order, 4-5-6 up for the Sox. We'll start with Brian Ramos, who was plunked his last time up, and he draws a walk. That's 4, not even counting the hit by pitch. So technically that's 5 free passes already for the White Sox lineup. Edgar Caro should not have swung at that pitch. He chases the outside circle change. That'll bring up Nick Maton, who brought in the 2 runs earlier. He's looking to do more damage as this one is crushed into left center, and it will bounce over the wall for a ground rule double. His 3rd of the year, 2nd of the game. And again, we've got 2 runners on as Emmanuel Rivera draws a walk, and the bases are loaded again. All 3 innings, we've loaded the bases. How is Ranger Suarez still in the game? He's allowing so many base runners. Monasterio singles into right. That'll score 1 and only 1. Do not want to test the arm of Willie Abreu. That was a good call. So the bases are still loaded. It is now 3-0. And finally, they're going to take him out of the game. A rough outing here for Ranger Suarez, who faces off against 17 batters. He records 7 outs, allows 5 hits, 4 walks, and a hit by pitch. With 3 earned runs so far, that number could balloon as high as 6 if Pierce Johnson is not able to get out of the jam. Has not allowed a run yet this year, and he's going to need to keep it that way if Kansas City wants any chance to make a run at this game. Charles LeBlanc hits this one well into right center field. It's got some carry. Friedel chases after it. He will make the play, but that is more than enough room to score a run off of the sacrifice. The closer play is going to be at third, but Emmanuel Rivera is safe. Nick Maton will score, and it's 4-0 White Sox. Back to the top of the order. Akil Baddoo's 3rd at bat here of the game, and we're in the 3rd inning. That one goes into the opposite field. It's 5-0. Everybody's going. Everybody is safe. Good slide by Monasterio at 3rd. It's an RBI double for Akil Baddoo, who's been raking this year. But we're still not done. Corey Julks single into left. That'll make it 6-0. Heat check. We're sending Baddoo. He's safe. It's 7-0. Offensive domination for the White Sox. We're getting guys on base with ease. Luis Robert behind 1-2, and this one is belted into right for a hit. What is happening? Do we actually have the best offense in the league? I mean, this is crazy. We're not even using power. We have no home runs today. We only have a few extra base hits. It's about singles and walks, but everybody's getting on base. Brian Ramos swinging a miss. That'll end the third. I'm pretty sure all 9 guys have gotten on base at least once today. 8 hits, 4 walks, hit by pitch. It's 13 base runners and 7 runs scored, 6 of which earned for Ranger Suarez. Jack Caglione chases the high fastball. Caglione's played really well this year. It seems like he's taken a leap from his rookie year now to his sophomore season. Bottom 4, Emmanuel Rivera sends it into no man's land. It's caught by Bobby Witt. Much better inning for Kansas City in the pitching, as that'll bring us into the 5th. How are we supposed to utilize German Marquez? Because he's pitching really well. But we're not going to need him to go 7 or 8 innings because, well, we're up 7-0. Drew Waters hits this one well into left. Julks at the track, at the wall. He will make the catch. Corey Julks skying up to catch the ball. That's 5 scoreless innings for German Marquez. It's been 2 completely different games for these starting pitchers. Ranger Suarez could not find the strike zone, whereas German Marquez has only allowed 3 base runners up to this point. Night and day different as we go bottom 5. Akil Baddoo up the middle with a base hit. Baddoo's had a really productive game. 2 hits and a walk. He's played quite well to start this year. He struggled for most of last season, but he played well over the last month of the year, and that is clearly carried over into 2027 as he's aboard here for Corey Julks. These guys getting their 4th at-bats of the game in just the 5th inning. Grounder to short. Bobby Witt Jr. makes the play. Got to commend Pierce Johnson. He's been really solid. 2 1/3 innings, maybe 2 2/3. He's only allowed 1 run, and I don't think he's allowed a base runner since the 3rd. Into the 6th, Blake Mitchell goes down on the knuckle curve. One of just 2 guys to have a base hit today for the Royals as he goes down on strikes. Nico Horner, 1-1 up the middle, off of Marquez's glove. Monasterio charges quickly. Throw to first, not in time. Good hustle by Horner. Good effort by Monasterio. We figure we might as well challenge the call. We're up 7-0. Why not? What is there to lose? We're already up big. This is a weird feeling. I mean, I'm not used to this team being up by so much. How am I supposed to react? I'm used to being down 17-5 against the Red Sox, figuring out which position player we're going to throw on the mound. This is so much fun. I could really get used to this. Wilyer Abreu sends this one into left. Damn, that was loud as hell. It bounces off the foul pole for a ground rule double. Kind of works out for us because I think the run would have scored otherwise. But Bobby Witt's just going to bring him in instead. Abreu will hold up at 3rd, and Marquez, who only allowed 3 base runners through the first 5 innings of the game, has allowed 3 base runners in a row. So I think this is where we're going to take him out. Overall, a pretty good start for German Marquez. Started to fade away here in the 6th inning, but he got us through 5 scoreless and looked a lot better than his first game against Arizona. We're hoping to use mostly our long relievers the rest of the way, our innings eaters, given that we're up by 6. But we are going to bring Danny Onion here. He's one of our high-leverage guys. The Royals have 2 runners on base, and if they score both of them, they could put themselves back into the game, and I do not want that happening. Jack Caglione skies this one into center. Luis Robert is under it. He will make the play. Abreu looks to score off the sacrifice. Robert with a laser to the plate. What a throw. But it is just not in time from the Gold Glover, and that'll make it 7-2. So a solid at-bat for Caglione. He brings home a run as McMahon goes down on the cutter. Danny Young does his job. The Royals bring home 2, but they're still down by 5. They're definitely not in a good spot. Jose Leclerc is in for Kansas City, his first appearance of the year. We know him well from our Giants series last year where he was pretty awful. In this series, he was pretty bad in the first year with the Athletics. He was pretty bad last year with the Phillies. We'll see if things go a little better with the Royals. That was a filthy pitch. Goddamn. Brian Ramos chasing the slider. That'll bring up Edgar Caro. He's ahead in the count 3-1. Caro sends this one into the opposite field, but it will be caught for the 3rd out of the inning. A 1-2-3 fame for Leclerc. Our offense has done virtually nothing since Ranger Suarez was taken out of the game. I don't think we have a base runner since the 3rd inning. Luckily, we hit the ball so well early. We're still up comfortably, but we've forgotten how to hit the ball after we looked so good early in this one. John Singleton goes down looking on the sweeper. I wanted to keep Danny Onion to get the lefty-on-lefty matchup. Drew Waters now sends this one into left. It's got some carry. Julks cannot make the play. It goes off the wall. Waters is into second, strolling with a double. And the Royals have a runner in scoring position. We'll see if they can continue to look to cut into the deficit. Blake Mitchell's had a productive day. Doubled earlier. Good defense behind the plate. Up the middle. Base hit. That should score Drew Waters. And the Royals are within 4. They'll still have work to do. But what once looked like a complete blowout, now not so much. If they get a couple big hits together, you never know. So we're going to switch Danny Young out of the game. He hasn't looked particularly impressive here in this 7th inning, and he will be replaced by Hayden Wisniewski, who's been really solid this year. 4 innings, only 1 earned run. His numbers from last year were really bad, but I thought he was good for the first 5 months of the year, and then he just forgot how to pitch in September. We had him start that one game against the Yankees where we allowed like 23 runs, and then he just forgot how to play baseball the rest of the year. Wisniewski will get us out of the inning off of the ground out. Blake Mitchell brings home a run, but the Royals still have a lot of work to do, down by 4. Bottom 7, Monasterio looking for his 3rd hit of the game, and he will not get it. Nico Horner showing off the leather. 2 scoreless for Leclerc. The Royals' bullpen has been so impressive up to this point as we go into the 8th. Wisniewski still in. Jack Caglione over to first. Rivera makes the play. A 4-run game going into the bottom of the 8th as the White Sox appear to be firmly in the driver's seat. Carlos Hernandez out of the bullpen for the Royals. He has not allowed a run in 4 innings so far. He's been really solid up to this point for Kansas City, as he will face off against Akil Baddoo with 1 away, looking for his 3rd trip on base, and he'll get it as he draws a walk. And now the White Sox finally have a runner on base. This literally might be the first time since like the 3rd inning, or so it feels. With 2 away, Luis Robert pops it up into right. It will be eventually caught by Abreu. So a weird game for us at the plate because we scored 7 runs. We got a lot of base runners. You'll never complain with that. But when we played against pitchers not named Ranger Suarez, the offense was pretty useless. And in the 9th now, we're going to bring in Cam Boozer. The Royals have a lot of lefties coming up, so I figure why not throw our lefty in? Boozer hasn't been all that impressive so far this year. He's allowed 3 runs in 2 innings. Hopefully this go-around goes a little bit better. Ryan McMahon leads off the inning, though, with a single. Down by 4. If you want to start a rally, you got to start somewhere, as the Royals open things up with a runner aboard. That'll bring up TJ Friedel behind 1-2, and he goes down on the sweeper. Big pitch by Boozer for the first out of the frame. That'll bring up John Singleton now. Lefty, lefty, lefty in a row. Odd strategy, but I guess it kind of worked out because 2 of them got base hits off of Cam Boozer. So now there's 2-1. The tying run is on deck for Blake Mitchell. This one is lined into right with 2 away. It's caught by Baddoo, and the White Sox win their home opener 7-3, and that puts us at a record of 4-3 on the year. We are above 500 for the first time in the entire series. I don't know about you, but that's something worth celebrating. I know it's April 2nd, and there's a good chance it doesn't really last, but this is a team who's not been over 500 for a long time, so we're going to enjoy it for the 24 hours we have it until we play against the Royals again. Again, it was a weird game for the offense because, 7 runs, 9 hits, 5 or 6 walks. We got a lot of guys on base, and we scored pretty easily. But we did nothing after the 3rd inning and against pitchers not named Ranger Suarez. German Marquez got the win his first of the year. He played pretty well, got away from him in the 6th, but overall a pretty good game. Of course, we did lose one of our starters, Luis Angel Acuna, who hurt his knee back in the 2nd inning. He sprained his MCL. He's going to be out for a week or 2. We'll put him on the 10-day IL. Bo Nix just played the Super Bowl with an MCL sprain for what it's worth, but this isn't the Super Bowl. This is the opening weeks of April, so we're going to be cautious with him and hold him out. There were a few guys I thought about calling up in his place. Jacob Gonzalez in AAA. Oswaldo Escobedo's an option. Braden Montgomery as well, but I decided to make a trade with Cleveland. We're going to be acquiring Daniel Schneemann, a utility man who hits lefties pretty well. He plays just about every position there is, and he will take over Acuna's spot on the roster. I like Schneemann's skill set. Good defensively, really good arm, solid enough power, good plate discipline. He draws plenty of walks. He's played a little bit in the minors this year. He hasn't been all that good. He wasn't very impressive last year, but I thought he played pretty well in 2025. Another reason why I made this trade is so we could get Cooper Ingle. Why do I want Cooper Ingle? Well, we need catching depth. We do not have that many in the minor leagues. So we're going to be trading away a few guys. Andrew Dahlquist, Jacob Burke, and Wes Kath. None of these guys I'm overly attached to. Overall, the value in this trade from both sides is pretty small. But we're getting catching depth, and we're getting a guy who we can plug into the major league lineup who Cleveland just doesn't really want. We're also going to clear up a roster spot in doing so. That's why I wanted to do a 3-for-2 trade so we could go into free agency and sign another catcher. We're going to look at Patrick Winkle. 58 overall, 27 years old. He's not overly exciting, but he will probably be a backup for us in Double-A, joining Peter Perkins, our 5th rounder a year ago. Schneemann will start against lefties. He's actually going to lead off against lefties for the time being. As we simulate through this next stretch, I think we're going to play a game against the Cubs. Chicago is a fun team. They're 2-6, but I think they have a fun roster. So we'll wrap up the series against the Royals, 3 against the Orioles, and then 3 in Detroit. 8 pretty tough games against 3 good teams. So we're going to hop into this final matchup against Kansas City. We lost the second game, so we very well are about to possibly fall below 500 again. Bases loaded, 1 away. Wilyer Abreu draws a walk, and the Royals take the lead. That is pretty unacceptable. You cannot walk home a run, especially being Cionel Perez, who's supposed to be our strong veteran closer. Bobby Witt on the ground, could be 2, and it is! 3-6-3. Great work by the defense to only allow 1. Emmanuel Rivera with the heads-up play to go to second. He felt like they could turn 2, and now we've got a chance to tie the game. Nick Maton is on second base. Lucas Urseg, who throws absolute gas, is here for the save for the Royals. Brian Ramos swings and misses at the low slider. It's hard to make decisions with a guy like Urseg on the mound because he throws so hard. Game comes down to Luis Robert, 0 for 4 today. Belts the first pitch into left. That goes for a hit. Maton is sent around third. Heads to the plate. Slides in safely. And this game is tied at 3. Luis Robert comes up big to knot this one up. And now we're looking for the walk-off with Kyle Teel, who's hitting .417 up to this point. 2-2, weakly hit on the ground, dribbler, and they're going to send it to second. That was ballsy by Nico Horner. I don't know why he went to second, but I guess it worked. Kansas City did not score in the top half of the 11th. Shout out to Cionel Perez. But we're in danger of not scoring here in the bottom half. Runners on the corners, 2 away for Corey Julks. Lines this one into right. Will it drop? It does not. It is caught in the outfield in right field by Joey Weimer. And so we're unable to score there as Blake Mitchell hits an RBI single. That'll make it 4-3 here in the bottom of the 12th. 2 away and a 2-2 count for Brian Ramos, facing off against Jose Leclerc. Down to our final strike, swing and a miss. The Royals win the final 2 games of the set in Chicago. The White Sox are right back down to under 500 as we are now 4-5. We did not score in either of the last 2 innings. We've got to score at least once, you'd think, right? I mean, we're starting with a runner in scoring position. The offense has to be better. They deserve a break, I guess, in the sense that they've been so good this year, so it's hard to get too mad. But, man, they should have done something with that. Kyle Teel, first home run of the year. Love to see it. Noah Schultz, really good start. That was wasted away by the bullpen and the offense. Douglas Cato is going to be taken off the injured list. That's good news. We had to take Grant Holman off of the 40-man roster because of the addition of Daniel Schneemann, and he was claimed off waivers by the Reds, so he is now gone. So long, partner. Bottom of the 9th here in this second game against the Orioles. We were down 3-0, but we scored 2 in the 9th with a 2-run shot by Colson Montgomery. We have a runner at second base, and we're going to bring in Akil Baddoo off the bench, who's hitting .410. I trust him off the bench to give us a big play against Chris Bubich, and he will not. Grounds it over to first, play is made, and the Orioles win this game 3-2. I will mention we did win the first game against Baltimore, 8-4. Kyle Teel had 3 hits, Edgar Caro had 3 hits, and Akil Baddoo had 3 hits in the win against the O's. We're unable to win this game, though. Zach Gallen pitched really well. They took him out and then allowed the home run to Colson Montgomery. Solid start for Drew Thorpe. He gets the loss, but certainly not his fault. Very next game, Akil Baddoo is a triple shy of the cycle. Keep in mind, he just hit for the cycle last week against the Angels. He could do it twice in the first 10 games of the year. This one is hit high and deep into center. Screw the triple. We're looking to get it over the fence. But it's not going to drop as it is caught by Enrique Bradfield. Badu would get one more chance in the bottom of the 8th. We've got 2 runners on base. Badu is 3 for 4 in this game, 6 for 10 in this series. His average is like close to 450. I mean, he's raking right now, but he goes down on the off-speed pitch. The White Sox would win this game, though, 5-2 your final score. Akil Baddoo, in the 2 games he started in this series with 3 hits in both of them. He has been very impressive. And we take 2 of 3 against a really good Orioles team, pushing our record to 6-6. For Baltimore, Zach Eflin did not have a very good start. Bullpen was really strong, though. The offense was not particularly good outside of Akil Baddoo, but he did enough to win the game, and Herman Marquez played really well. I see that Luis Robert was taken out of the game early in the 7th. That's probably not good news. Luckily, it's not a big injury. He ended up suffering some tightness in his forearm, so he might be out for a couple days, but he will not go on the injured list. Very next game, another chance for a cycle, and it's Kyle Teel, who's 3 for 3 here in this game against Detroit. He needs a triple, and if there's any park to hit a triple, it would be at Comerica. We're up 2-0. We haven't gotten a whole lot from the offense outside of Teel, but Hagen Smith has pitched really well. Problem for Teel here is that he's facing off against a great lefty in Tyler Holton, but he belts that one by the glove of Luis Rengifo for a single, 100 off the bat. It's not a triple, but it does go for a base hit. He's 4 for 4. So the good news is Teel would get another chance. The bad news is he would get another chance because the Tigers would end up taking the lead. We did score in the 9th to tie it, though, but the bullpen blew away what was a terrific outing from Hagen Smith. Now facing off against Will Vest. Runner at second base here, first at bat of the 10th inning, as it's now 2-2, and he swings at a pitch he absolutely should not have. Even though the bullpen tried to choke away the game in the 8th, we would end up getting the win off of an Edgar Caro sacrifice fly. Maybe not the prettiest way to win the game, but hey, we'll take it in Detroit against the Tigers team who won 95 games a year ago. Kyle Teel goes 4 for 5, triple shy at the cycle. Hagen Smith was awesome, 7 scoreless innings, and the second he gets taken out of the game, we forget how to pitch. This team is something else. Danny Young allows the 4 earned runs, although Tony Santillan and Cionel Perez both pitched well in the 9th and 10th innings to slam the door. Max Clark brought home a run in the 8th, and then Luis Rengifo, who's been very good this year, with a 3-run shot. Luis Angel Acuna is back as we end up splitting the last 2 games against the Tigers. So how about this? Back-to-back series wins against the Orioles, who won 92 games last year, and the Tigers, who won 95. Wait a second, hold on. Who is in first place in the division? Look at that! The Chicago White Sox lead the AL Central. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Everybody's within like 2 games of each other, but that is sick. So Luis Angel Acuna is back. I do want to talk about some of the other guys in the infield in the minors because we're probably going to see some more movement soon. Waldo is raking in AAA. He's been awesome so far and is on the verge of a major league call-up. Daniel Schneemann has not been a very good addition. He's only hitting 100, but we're going to send Charles LeBlanc down instead as Acuna replaces his spot on the roster. So that gets us set for a 3-game series on the road in Chicago against the Cubs. The next 13 games over these next 2 weeks are all in Chicago. We're not going to have much traveling to do. I think we can really take advantage of that, even though we've got a few good teams coming up. Chicago has not been all that great this year, but they are a talented squad who I don't want to take lightly. One of the biggest reasons why we're currently in first place in the AL Central is the play of Akil Baddoo, who leads the AL in WAR by a landslide at 1.5. The only other player in the entire league above 1 is Luis Robert, interestingly enough. And then in the NL, you have Jackson Chourio, who's just on another planet. In 13 games, he has 15 extra base hits, 7 homers. His OPS is nearing 2,000. My God, has he been insane. But Akil Baddoo leads the way for MVP, and Kyle Teel is in second. I would imagine Luis Robert is not too far off. So I think we're going to play the last game of the series against the Cubs. Will happen in this second game after losing the first. Top of the 10th, 2 away, runners on the corners. A huge spot in this game for Emmanuel Rivera against Tyson Miller, as this one is hit pretty well. Deep in the left center field. At the track, at the wall, it is gone! It barely scrapes over the fence, but all home runs are created equal. First home run of the season for Emmanuel Rivera, and it could not have come in a bigger spot. In a tie game in the top of the 10th with 2 away, if he was out there, the Cubs would have been a base hit away from winning the game. And now all of a sudden, we're in control. Colson Montgomery goes down looking, does not like the call as he talks with the umpire. Montgomery has certainly cooled off after his hot start. Maybe it was a fluke, or maybe this is a cold spell. Hopefully just the latter. Well, we would not win the game in the bottom of the 10th because this team just chooses to be hilarious at every chance they get. Dansby Swanson ties it with a 3-run shot. Now we're going to need Luis Robert to help us take the lead, and we will not as he goes down on the sweeper. So the Cubs can finish off the game here in the bottom of the 11th. 2 on, 2 away for the first-time All-Star a year ago, Kevin Alcantara, who we know quite well from the Guardian series in MLB 22 and certainly the Marlins series in 23 as he goes down on the cutter. Great inning for Danny Young to get out of the jam, and that now brings us into the 12th. 2 on for Edgar Quero, who's 0 for 4. His numbers have been pretty disappointing this year, but he sends this one into center for a hit. Teel rounding third, headed to the plate. We're going to send the other runner over to third. He is safe. That is, I believe, Akil Baddoo. And Edgar Quero puts the White Sox ahead 8-7. Big-time hit for the youngster. Emmanuel Rivera homered earlier. That's a wild pitch. Baddoo is headed home, and he is out of there. So the bad pitch actually works out for the Cubs. We do move Quero up to second. I think we jumped a split second too late there. Baddoo should have been safe. Rivera is ahead now, 3-1. He draws a walk, and now there's 2 on, 2 away. Big spot to completely break open the door of this game for Corey Julks, who comes off the bench, replacing Colson Montgomery, and he goes down on the sweeper. We do score 1 there with the RBI single for Edgar Quero. Will it be enough, however, in the bottom of the 12th? Danny Young looking to close the door. We're going to make a switch, though. I'm going to bring in Penn Murphy, who's played really well so far, adjusting to his new role as a middle reliever. Now we're making him the closer again. We'll see how well he does. Against Connor, Joe goes down on the sweeper. Great pitch. Joe not happy with himself, and there's 2 away. Matt Shaw looking to be the hero for the Cubs as this one goes on the ground at first. Nice scoop by Rivera, and the White Sox even the series at 1. 8-7 in 12. Your final score. Certainly an exciting game with a big 10th inning. 3-run homer by Emmanuel Rivera, canceled out by a 3-run homer by Dansby Swanson. The offense, again, putting up big numbers, though. 3 more hits for Baddoo. 3 more hits for Teel. Those 2 guys have been unbelievably impressive all year. Herman Marquez did not have a great start. Bullpen was up and down, but they made plays when they needed to, not allowing a run over the final 2 innings. Jose Barrios actually had a really good start for the Cubs, and then the pen just withered it away. So that brings us into the final game. I'm excited to get to pitch with Hagen Smith for the first time this year. Through 3 starts, he's been up and down. He's coming off the best start of his season, though. 7 scoreless in Detroit. Did not get the win because his team hates him, though. But the big story continues to be the offense. We have not cooled off at all during this episode. Kyle Teel, over his last 7 games, is hitting an absurd .516 with an OPS above 1350. There are no players in the American League who are hitting as well this season as Kyle Teel and Akil Baddoo. Teel is hitting .451 while Baddoo is hitting .415. The only guys hitting above .400 in the AL. Baddoo leads the league in hits. Teel is a little bit lower. And then you have Jackson Chourio again on another planet in the NL hitting .480. But we have 2 of the only 3 players in Major League Baseball who are hitting above .400. That's pretty sick. Ben Brown is on the bump here for the Cubs. He's allowed quite a few base runners through his first 3 starts, but an ERA at 3.07 is not too bad, although he hasn't really gotten any run support, currently 0-2. Douglas Cato leading things off. He draws a walk. Cato is looking to do the impossible. He's now played on 4 consecutive days, and the craziest part, he's homered in each of the last 3. He's looking for a 4th straight day with a homer. Akil Baddoo in for a single. Another hit for the AL's current hit king. 2 on, nobody out. Quick start for the White Sox lineup as that will bring up Luis Robert, and he goes down looking on the fastball. I was a little worried that the offense was going to come into this game sluggish, coming off of the night game that went 12 innings into a day game. But when you have Akil Baddoo and Kyle Teel, you'll be just fine. RBI single for Teel. Cato scores, and it's 1-0. The 2 best hitters in the American League, both with hits in the first inning. Who's surprised? Let's take a look at Hagen Smith, who started the year off a little bit slowly, but after throwing 7 scoreless against the Tigers in his last start, It looks like he's settled in. It looks like the Hagen Smith from last year has arrived. Mariano Gonzalez, a mid-round pick in the 2025 draft, goes down on the fastball. Good start to the game for Smith. Dansby Swanson, big 3-run shot in the 10th last night for the Cubs. He goes down on the splitter. A filthy pitch by Smith. 2 strikeouts to start the game as that brings us into the top of the second. Colson Montgomery clobbers a baseball into left center field, places the bat down, and that one is gone. 407 feet for Montgomery, and the White Sox add to the early lead as it's 2-0. Home run number 3 for Colson Montgomery. Even though he's on a little bit of a slump compared to where he was early in the year, he's still overall hitting the ball a whole lot better than last year. His OPS after that home run probably in the mid-800s, which is a great spot for him, given what we have seen from him over the last year or so at the big league level. Luis Angel Acuna singles into left. I was a little worried about Acuna. He really hasn't played all that well since we got him. Early this year he struggled, but in the few games he's played since the injury, he's looked really solid. Douglas Cato now up 2-2, and Cato mashes this one into right center. That is not going to be a home run for a 4th straight day, but it will be an RBI double. The speedster reaches base for a second time today, and it's 3-0 White Sox. When Douglas Cato has played this year, he has played really well. Give him credit. It's just about the health with him, but the guy is a really good ball player. Luis Robert hits this one well, deep into center field. PCA at the track, at the wall, it is gone! 436 feet for Luis Robert, and it's 5-0 White Sox. This offense continues to just rake. His 5th home run of the year. We've now scored 4 runs in this inning. I mean, I'm running out of good things to say about this lineup because I've said it already. These guys are awesome. Kyle Teel, his average at 462 after the RBI single in the first. Pops it up into left. A rare out for Kyle Teel, but a big inning. We score 4, featuring a solo shot by Montgomery and a 2-run shot by Luis Robert. I don't believe it. We're actually giving Hagen Smith run support. This is a rarity. I don't know if we've scored 5 runs all year for Hagen Smith. We've done it in the first 2 innings as Pete Alonso singles into right. That'll bring up Ian Happ now, Giants franchise legend. That one deflects off of Smith. We were hoping to turn 2. We're going to have to settle for 1, and barely. Good job, though, by Hagen Smith to get the out. A little bit shaken up, but he'll be A-okay. Matt Shaw now up with 2 away, former top draft pick for the Cubs. And he goes down looking on the fastball. 2 scoreless innings for Hagen Smith in what has been another very impressive start for what has continued to be one of the very best offenses in baseball. Top of the 3rd, Emmanuel Rivera goes down looking on the fastball. Ben Brown trying to settle in here, unlike Ranger Suarez was able to a couple of weeks ago. Andrew Monasterio belts this one into the gap, and that goes into no man's land where it is caught by Chicago. Matt Shaw comes down with it. Much better inning for Brown as we go bottom 3. Pete Crow Armstrong up for the Cubs has not played very well this year, hitting 182. He goes down on the 2-seam fastball. 4 punch-outs now for Hagen Smith. Gabriel Moreno getting the start behind the plate today for Chicago. He's been platooning with Moses Ballesteros so far this year. As this one goes into right, and it will drop for a hit. The Gabriel Moreno roller coaster has certainly been an interesting one throughout this series. Struggled in year 1 with Arizona, traded to the Cubs, has shown some flashes, but really has not developed into the player many thought he would. Mariano Gonzalez goes down looking. Now Dansby Swanson is up behind 1-2. We got Swanson on the off-speed last time, and we're going to do it again. This time he hits it, though, and Acuna will not be able to make the play over to first. A 75-mile-an-hour infield single. That is awfully unlucky for Hagen Smith. 2 on, 2 away. Seiya Suzuki sends this one into right. Baddoo after it, and he will make the grab. 5-0 through 3. The offense has been the main story today, but Hagen Smith is pitching another really good game so far, although he didn't have his best inning there, but neither of the base hits from the Cubs were really hit all that well. They just dropped where they needed to. Cody Poteet out of the pen for Chicago in the 4th, and his day does not start off very well. Luis Angel Acuna, 415 feet over the bullpen into the left field seats. as he gives a shout out to the White Sox bullpen, his first home run of the year. If Acuna can develop some power, I think he can become a really solid offensive player because I think the raw contact is there. I think the plate skills are there. It's just about the power for him, in my opinion. Douglas Cato gets plunked. Knowing him, he might be out until June, given that his bones are made of literal paper clips. Cato goes for second. He is safe, and the speedster is in scoring position. It's still mind-blowing for me that Cato was tied for the team lead in stolen bases last year, even though he only played like 30 games. Akil Baddoo into center. It's caught by PCA. We're going to send Cato to third on the sacrifice, and he is out. A double play. In a vacuum, I like being aggressive with the speedster Cato on the bases. The problem is we tested the most naturally talented defensive player maybe in all of Major League Baseball. As Pete Alonso goes down looking, yet another punch-out for Hagen Smith. Alonso very frustrated. It has not been a good start to the year for him. B.J. Murray Jr. belts this one to short. Monasterio will look to make the play, and he will. Murray was excellent in the minors last year. It's taken him a little time to adjust to big league pitching, but his ratings got a big boost after being one of the best players in all of AAA for the Iowa Cubs. Top five, Luis Robert leads things off up the middle. That one goes for a base hit. I feel like we haven't talked a lot about Luis Robert today because guys like Akil Baddoo and Kyle Teel are overshadowing him. Baddoo's numbers have gone down a little bit since the first few games of the year, but he's still playing really well overall. Kyle Teel sends this one into right field. It's got some carry. At the track, at the wall, it is gone! Kyle Teel is unstoppable! 388 feet, his third home run of the year, and it's 8-0. The contact has taken a massive step up. The power has taken a step up. I mean, if he plays at a fraction of this level the rest of the year, he is one of the best catchers in Major League Baseball, and we certainly paid him at the right time. Matt Shaw goes down on the slider. Pete Crow Armstrong now up for the Cubbies, and this one is hit into center. Luis Robert will make the catch. I really don't think he needed to dive, but you got to add some aura points, you know? Got to make the play look a little bit cooler than it actually is. Hagen Smith still pitching a gem as that'll bring up Gabriel Moreno with 2 away. Base hit his last time up. Bloops this one into right, and it will go down. I feel like the Cubs have had the most lucky hits today. They're not hitting the ball well, but they've gotten their fair share of base runners because the ball has bounced their way, at least offensively, and that should be able to bring home a run. Gonzalez's double does not bounce off the wall. That could have been a ground rule double. It could have prevented the run from scoring, but it just missed, and they're able to score Moreno. That'll make it 8-1. Chris Paul hits a huge 3. Dansby Swanson now into left. Kyle Teel goes after it, and he will make the play. Teel playing in the outfield today, shaking it up a bit with Edgar Caro getting the start behind the plate in this one. 8-1 through 5. Chicago crushing the ball as they have been throughout the year. Acuna homered his last time up. Here he goes down on the high cutter. Good pitch by Javier Assad, who has recently checked into the game out of the bullpen for the Cubs. Akil Baddoo is now up for Chicago. He finds himself behind 1-2. Baddoo hits it up the middle. Deflected at second base by Shaw, and it goes for a hit. Another multi-hit game for Akil Baddoo, whose average is still going up and up and up. Luis Robert now behind 1-2. Checks his swing. Umpire says he went around. Good inning for Javier Assad. The White Sox do not score, which is now a rarity. Who would have thought? Seiya Suzuki into right. That goes for a hit to kick off the bottom of the 6th. Much like German Marquez in the first game, there's no reason to have Hagen Smith go a while. We're going to look to have him go through 6 innings. If he starts to struggle, we'll make a move. As Pete Alonso goes down on the splitter. Another punch out for Hagen Smith, his 8th. The strikeout rate in particular started slow for Smith this year, but he's got a lot of swing and misses today. Happ on the ground. Double play! 3-6-3. That'll end the inning, and that'll end the day for Hagen Smith. 6 innings, 1 run, a really strong outing for Smith, who's only allowed 1 run over his last 13 innings. Into the 7th, Emmanuel Rivera sends this one into the gap. That one is going to go for yet another hit. Chicago potentially knocking on the doorsteps of double digits. Kind of hard to believe that we have not gotten into the double digits, I think, all year. Maybe once in March, but nothing more. Edgar Caro sends this one into the gap. That one will one hop off the wall. Rivera will hold at third. I feel like Caro's numbers, even though they've been bad, I'm not too worried about him. He's done a better job of working counts. He's drawing more walks. And he's not hitting the ball poorly. It's just not dropping for him. His exit velos, his launch angles, all the metrics are fine, at least in terms of when we've hit with him. Colson Montgomery grounds out to second. Sox leave 2 aboard as that sends us to the bottom of the 7th. The goal is that Prelander Berroa will go the rest of the way. In 11 1/3 innings, he's been pretty solid, allowing 4 earned runs so far. ERA just shy of 4. And we're hoping for smooth sailing. Don't let the Cubs get back in the game. As Shaw puts it on the ground, should be a double play, and it will. Good work by the infield. 6-4-3 to turn a pair. That will then send us into the 8th. Full count for Luis Angel Acuna. He draws a walk, now facing off against Tyson Miller for the Cubs. I almost said Chicago, but I can't really call either of these teams Chicago because, they're both from here. Maton on the ground, double play. We're starting to bring in some guys off the bench. Much of the team is super gassed after the 12-inning game the night before, so I want to get some of those guys some rest over the last couple of innings as Montgomery makes the grab. Jump man, jump man, jump man, what a snag. But as I was trying to say, I think for some of these guys who have played a lot over the last couple of days, there's no reason to play them here in the 8th and 9th innings. We're up by 7. As Dansby Swanson strikes out, we'll go into the 9th. If there's any chance that we topple double digits, you'd think it could be against Luke Little, whose ERA is 33 this year. Daniel Schneemann up for the White Sox. This one is flown into the air in left. Kind of like the Royals game, we were not very good offensively the second half of the game. All 8 of our runs came in the first 5 innings. As that sends us into the bottom of the 9th. Berroa looking to finish off the job for good. Runner on first, 2 away for B.J. Murray Jr. Belts this one hard to second. Acuna makes the play. The White Sox win the game and the series over the Cubs as they take this one in dominant fashion, 8-1. 6 innings of 1-run ball for Hagen Smith. He played really well. And then the offense, again, continues to just absolutely crush the ball. Another multi-hit game for Akil Baddoo. His average ended up going down. Another multi-hit game for Kyle Teel, including a homer driving in 3. His average also somehow went down. 2 for 5, and it goes down. That's wild. Acuna went deep. Robert went deep. He drove in a pair. We relied on the long ball a lot more than, say, the Royals game when we didn't have any home runs. And then the pitching was really good. Hagen Smith was phenomenal. Prelander Berroa did his job. Not much going for Chicago in this one Chicago is in the Cubs, I should say, as they take the loss, and we move up to 10-8 on the year. So the team continues to play well. How far will that carry over as we now have a 10-game homestand, although we were practically at home to begin with, already playing in Chicago. But we've got Cleveland for 4. That'll be tough. The Rockies for 3. That'll be less tough. We will get to see Bryce Wilson. And then 3 against the Tampa Bay Rays, who have been not as good as they were, but still one of the better teams in baseball through the first month of the year. And then we'll travel to Seattle, 3 games against the Mariners. Top of the 6th, we are up 4-3, but the bases are loaded for Cleveland. Jose Ramirez on the ground. Colson Montgomery has to get it out quick, and he does. Hayden Wesneski gets out of a bases-loaded jam. Good work here for the White Sox, who lost the first game of the series, not looking to lose again. Cleveland would take the lead, though. Carl Rhodes, who they drafted last year, 4 for 5, 3 RBIs, a double, and a triple. And so we are down by 1. We're going to have Corey Julks come in as a pinch runner. Luis Angel Acuna up to bat. Hits this one pretty well into center field, but it will be caught. The Guardians win the first 2 games of the series as they take this one by the final score of 5-4. The White Sox back down to 500, now at a record of 10-10 through the first 20 games of the year. We hit the ball fairly well off of Tanner Bybee, who is one of probably the 4 or 5 best pitchers in Major League Baseball right now, but their bullpen shut the door, which I guess is kind of on brand. They do have an elite bullpen. Hunter Gaddis, Cade Smith, both doing their thing. Kyle Teel homered again, as did Brian Ramos, just his second of the year. Owen White allowed 13 base runners. That's a lot. We would win the last 2 games, including 13-7. Luis Angel Acuna, a homer and 2 triples. Big game for him. Colson Montgomery went deep. He drove in 4. And even in a game where we do not pitch well at all, we can win and win big. Unfortunately, the offense would not do so well against Bryce Wilson and the Rockies. But we are up 2-1 here in the top of the 8th. 2 on, 1 away for Gavin Lux, who goes down looking. A great pitch by Danny Young. I thought that pitch was well low, but he does get the call. Cole Carrick now up for Colorado. This one is lined into right. Schneemann under it. He will make the play. And ultimately, that inning by Danny Young would help us win the game as we take it 2-1. Another dominant start from Hagen Smith. Granted, it's not the best offense in the world here in Colorado, but he played very well again. Colson Montgomery homered again. That's 3 homers in the last week. I think he's at 5 now on the year. He's driven in 16 runs, which is a lot. Kyle Teel with another extra base hit. His average is all the way down to 408. 5 innings of 1-run ball for Hagen Smith. His ERA is at 2.73, and the bullpen was really good. We do lose Corey Julks, though. Shoulder separation. He'll be out for a month or two. The AAA team I want to point out is 17-5. We'll do a deeper dive on these guys in the next episode, but everybody in the rotation is balling. Wilkham and Gonzalez, ERA is at .74. Oswaldo has not cooled off. Gonzalez is hitting .350. Braden Montgomery has 6 home runs and 66 at-bats. That leads the league for AAA. He is mashing right now. He doesn't lead all of AAA, though, because Cody Clemens has 9, which is ridiculous. The reason why I wanted to look at Montgomery in specific is because he is the guy we're going to be calling up. I did change his jersey number, though. He's going to wear number 6, which is what he wore in college at Texas A&M and Stanford. Bailey Falter wore it last year, but now he gets his number. The second game of the series against the Rockies was a wash. We lost 9-1, but this game's a lot closer. Bases loaded in the 7th. Danny Young and Gavin Lux meet again, and Young wins the battle once more. Lux grounds out to first. I feel like all of our opponents are leaving the bases loaded. What has happened to the team I once knew and loved? Daniel Schneemann, 2-run homer in the bottom half of the inning, ends up winning the game for us. You'll love to see it. The offense with 5 runs, 10 hits. Edgar Caro hitting the ball better, as I kind of expected. I figured his numbers would go up. So we win the series against the Rockies, and that now brings us to 3 games against the Rays. We're down 1-0 here in the 7th. We've wasted a brilliant start by Drew Thorpe, but Douglas Cato singles into left. That's going to bring home 1, and that will bring home a 2nd. Colson Montgomery is safe, and it's 2-1. Cato is fired up. That'll now bring up Brian Ramos. There's a couple of hits today, as Ramos clobbers it into left field. The offense exploding here in the 7th as it's 5-1. We got nothing through the first 6 innings against our very good friend, Sandy Alcantara, a guy who we have gone through the good, the bad, and the ugly with on this channel. He pitched really well in this game, both for the Rays, and the bullpen blew it. We end up winning 5-1. We score all 5 of our runs here in the 7th. So I guess we don't waste a Drew Thorpe masterclass after all. Brian Ramos leads the way, 3 for 4. Big 3-run homer to help us win the game. Kyle Teel pinch ran for in the 2nd. Does that mean he's hurt? Yes, it does. And the fun train for the White Sox has crashed. Damaged knee cartilage. He will be out for 2 to 3 months. This is a major buzzkill for a team who had so much going for them. Teel is still in first place in the MVP race right now. He has been the most valuable player in the American League, and now we will be without him probably until the All-Star break. This sucks. I mean, he's been so good for us this year. So that means Edgar Caro is going to be the everyday catcher. Romeo Sanabria can catch. He's going to come up to the big leagues. He hasn't been very good in AAA, but we need another guy who can catch games. Luis Robert has 2 homers in this matchup against the Rays. He's looking for a 3rd against Alex Faedo. We lead 6-4, and Robert hits this one really high. I don't think it's enough carry, but it's going to go for a while. Will eventually be caught in right, but the White Sox would win this game 6-4. Good to see us continuing to hit the ball pretty well, even without Kyle Teel. I do suspect the offense is going to take a hit, given how consistent, how solid he has been for us through the first month of the year. And basically, we need to continue to keep the momentum rolling, because an injury like that could really stall what has been an unbelievably promising start to the year for the now 16-12 Chicago White Sox. Edgar Caro, his first full game as the everyday catcher, he homered. So that's a promising start as Marquez goes 7, allows only 1 run. He pitched very well. I'm pretty sure through the entire month of April, our team's only been on a plane once, and that was just to Detroit and back, not a very far flight. So finally, a long travel into the Pacific Northwest as we start a West Coast road trip here against the Seattle Mariners. Top of the 8th, up 2-1. Seth Brown puts it on the ground, could be 2. We get the out at second. The throw to first is not in time. Good hustle by Brown. That'll keep the inning going for the M's as they have a pair of runners on the corners against Tony Santillan, and it's Santiago Espinal. Grounded to first, Rivera playing in, scoops it up, tags the bag. Chicago holds on to the lead going into the 9th, where the closer, Cionel Perez, will look to get the save. Perez's numbers have been good this year, and he hasn't blown a save since opening day against Arizona. I don't really have full trust in him yet, even though he has played well. As Jarren Duran sends this one into the opposite field, 99 speed on base. You best believe they're going to bring him in. That's Jorge Mateo, and the Mariners tie it at 2. Duran with the RBI double. Perez's first blown save since game number 1, and Duran has like 96 speed. They could easily bring him home. Ryan Bliss gets it by Monasterio into right. Duran will score, and the Mariners walk it off as Cionel Perez blows the save and takes the loss. 2 runs in the 9th for the Mariners. Ryan Bliss ends up being the hero for Seattle. Not a great game for us offensively, although Akil Baddoo had 2 more hits. Noah Schultz got the start. He was really good, did not allow an earned run. Schultz has been either really good or really bad this year. There's been no in between. Joey Lincoln with the win for Seattle, the 3rd overall pick back in year number 1, as we would end up getting swept by the Mariners, scoring 5 runs in the series. Edgar Caro did homer again in this second to last game, but the pitching was not so good. We have scored 5 runs over the last 3 games, our first full series without Kyle Teel. I don't think that's a coincidence, although Edgar Caro did have 3 hits in the last game, and over his last 10, he's been pretty good. Hitting .263, OPS at .879, so he's playing better, which is good to see. But we're still going to have to find a way to produce without Kyle Teel. Nonetheless, I don't want to act like the sky is falling. The team is over 500. I mean, this is better than anyone could have asked for. We're going to take a look at the minor leagues in the next episode. I'm really excited to talk about the AAA team because those boys have been balling, although a handful of them probably are not going to be in AAA for much longer. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.